Hello everyone and welcome back to round 23 of the F1 24 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Qatar Grand Prix at Lusail. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live yesterday from Las Vegas, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. I'm back from the Belgian, the Spa 24, obviously in Belgium. Had a really good fun time, but of course now we're back with plenty more F1 24 content to make. I'm gonna put the elephant out of the room first of all. Yes, I am quite sunburnt. The weather on Saturday was very good, so ignore this as best as you can throughout most of this video. Of course, if you're new around here though, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed to the channel as well. We're trying to hit 4K subs at the moment. Obviously as well, we are still trying to go through and making sure that we get all of our upgrades sorted, ready for next season. We have 2 more to go, so we should be able to get them done by the end of this weekend. Performance-wise, we are lacking behind the rest of the field, but I'm hoping, of course, they're all going to lose performance as we head into next season. Verstappen, of course, is your Formula 1 World Champion. Red Bull have the opportunity this weekend to wrap up the Constructors as well. I believe they need to score, like, 8 points or something like that over the course of this weekend, so it's looking quite likely. We need to score 8 points as well to try and get back ahead of Alpine, but with the performance of the car at the moment, that is not going to be easy. Well, as we make our way back then onto F1 24, it's been, what, 5 days, I think, since I last played this game. I must admit, I feel a little bit rusty. However, you guys have been screaming at me in the comments to all of these videos that we need to start using the overtake mode again in our qualifying run. So that's exactly what we're going to do as we return here to Lusail, down the inside of Kevin Magnussen at the first corner. Really don't want to end up battling the Haas right the way around this lap, but we will swoop through. But yeah, it's been genuinely quite interesting coming back on this game again. It's the longest break I've taken, obviously, since the game launched. So admittedly, yeah, I know it's not very long. And the game obviously hasn't been out for very long, but yeah, it has been quite funny, obviously trying to get back up to speed in free practice. Let's see what we can do, though, in sprint qualifying. I guess we can kind of use the sprint to prepare ourselves for the main race. Making our way up, though, in towards this fearsome final sector. Completely flat through the first, completely flat through the second. Or just about flat through the third. We did run it ever so slightly wide over the exit curb. Down 1 gear through the final one as we try and make sure that we use all of that overtake mode around the course of the lap. Ayumu Asa has done a 23.3 right now. We are going to do a 22.8. Half a second clear of our teammate, and we were on harder tyres. Well, with less than a minute left on the clock, then we've come back out on our set of these soft compound tyres here, ready for our final lap in anger. Hopefully we're going to get a nice slipstream from Valtteri Bottas back down to turn 1. It won't quite be as good as Kevin Magnussen's there, as Bottas kind of panics, trying to work out where I'm going. See, he can jump out of the way, but we should have more grip throughout the entirety of the slack. You can see immediately finding a 10.5 through the first corner, and another 10.5 through the second. This is good. Hopefully we're going to be able to elevate ourselves back up the order. Now we are using that overtake. Maybe our days of back row starts are going to be left behind just a little bit. Come on then, making our way in towards this final sector once again then. We are just finding time around the lap at the moment. Luckily we haven't quite got enough top end speed to actually bring the car up into 8th gear, which does make it slightly easier right the way through. See, completely flat that time round. Just down the 1 gear to get yourself the rotation as we make our way in towards that final turn. We've definitely used a bit more battery over the course of the lap, but we're going to roll on the throttle. It is going to be a 1 second improvement here. A 21.9 puts us P10. I will take that. There we go. Charles Leclerc fastest at the end of that session, ahead of Alonso and Max Verstappen there. It is P10 for us between Perez and Lance Stroll. Arguably the 2 of the 3 worst number 2s so far this season. Ayumu only 3/10 away from Bottas and Logan Sargent. He's pretty much there, and when you consider the lack of car performance at the moment, theoretically, I'm honestly impressed with how well he's doing. It's pretty much decided that he will be staying with the team through, ready for Season 2. But yeah, let's get into the sprint race.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. Losail International was built for 2 wheels, but today we race on 4. It's a fast, flowing track, 3.3 miles, 16 turns, just the one DRS zone, but it is a long straight, and you can expect overtaking. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Fernando Alonso completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Russell, Sainz, Hamilton, Perez, Mr. Monaco, Stroll, Ocon, Gasly, Tsunoda, Albon, Hulkenberg, Ricciardo, Joe, Magnussen, Bottas, Sargent, and Ayumu Iwasa. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
With your grid position, we should be able to bring home a better result than last race. Come on, you can do it.
Well, yeah, I think after the last sprint weekend we had at Brazil, it's a welcome return to be a bit higher up the order. Once again, 10 laps ahead of us, though, to kick things off this weekend. And maybe, just maybe, we can score some points. Either that or the car's not going to have the pace, and we're going to end up going backwards. It is 5 red lights here for the sprint. And it's going to be lights out, and away we wheel spin. Can tell I'm a little bit rusty on this game. Ocon and Stroll immediately will dive past me in towards turn 1. They're going to go 3 wide with Hamilton. Didn't end up going too well for Lewis last year here, did it? So we just check up a little bit. Gasly says thank you very much, and there is contact in front then. So we've had an absolutely terrible start to this Grand Prix as Hamilton and Ocon make contact again out of turn 2. We're going to try and go on a fight back, though, around the outside of the second Frenchman. Kind of, almost-ish, thereabouts. Hey, hello. Still there, Pierre. Clearly not happy with me and my defending antics. Sergio Perez has done a good job off the start, though, to move himself all the way up into P6. It is still Ferrari that lead the way. Charles Leclerc at the front.
Let's try and move forward.
Remember, though, Ferrari, they need to cut the gap down to Red Bull here by, I believe, down to 88 points. By the end of the sprint. So it might be that Red Bull wrap up the constructors here on Saturday, in a similar vein to how Verstappen wrapped up the driver's title here last year. Obviously, he has already claimed that driver's title. I believe it was back at Sao Paulo, wasn't it, a couple of rounds ago. So Brazil's long legacy of title decides in the 21st century continues to live on. Oh, well, we have definitely got a bit of a straight line speed problem at the moment. Tsunoda got really, really close to me on the run back down towards turn 1. Luckily, it looks like Ocon might be struggling to keep up with those cars in front. I guess we've kind of got to find a weird balance now. If we use overtake mode in qualifying, it would appear that we've got slightly less race pace. If I don't use overtake mode in qualifying, it appears we've got slightly more race pace, depending on, obviously, in comparison to where we qualify with other cars. So it's a really, really odd balance now. It's almost like you need to use half the overtake in qualifying to kind of find a good balance with the AI, but, you know, we're still trying to figure it out. I mean, maybe EA could just build us a game that works in the first place. Well, they're still battling out just in front there. I think that's Russell and Sergio Perez trying to dispute, I think, P6. Getting slightly worried, though, that Ocon heard what I said, because he's really trying to up the pace now. He has dropped out of the range, though, of Hamilton in front of him. So I think if we can stay in the range of Ocon, it should give us a chance just to recharge the battery slightly. But yeah, maybe qualifying kind of highlighted the car's strengths rather than its weaknesses. So you can just see more Constantina up in front. Ocon is dancing on that limit of 1 second, as am I.
Behind, 5.7 seconds.
Oh no, here comes Yuki. Here comes Yuki. Nothing we can do. That V-carb so quick in a straight line. That's what we can do, apparently. Tsunoda then maybe getting a bit too optimistic with his approach down to turn 1. And we hang on. Oh, we got yellows. We got yellows. That's going to be a front runner. Oh, that might be a red flag.
On the track, no overtaking through the yellow flags.
What on earth has happened there? Verstappen's gone for a spin.
To positive, and let's have you straight to the pit lane, please.
Will I hang on to the position? I can't imagine. So I'm guessing Verstappen just dropped it, trying to defend from the cars behind. But that's given us a restart then.
Actually a free stop, so let's think very carefully about our strategy for the rest of this race.
Yeah, no chance we're going to restart this one on a set of the mediums. We may as well take the extra grip for a 4-lap sprint here. I think we had the same, didn't we, in Austria in the driver career mode. We had a red flag in the middle of the sprint race. Unfortunately, I haven't gained all those spots, but it seems like we're split between softs and mediums. It's 5 red lights again, and it is going to be a lights out, and away we go. And I've done an even worse job than I did first time round on trying to put the power down. There goes Gasly around the outside in towards that first corner. So we've got more yellow flags out. I think a Red Bull hasn't gone. No, that can't be. That's a V-carb that must be breaking down off of the restart then. So Ricciardo out.
They're retiring from the race.
I've never had that before inside the F1 game. I guess Ricciardo was meant to be breaking down anyway, as we go 3 wide with the Alpines there at the top of the hill. But yeah, Ricciardo out before we even make it to turn 1. Oh, just running ever so slightly into the back of Lando Norris. We'll try and go clean around his outside out through the next couple of turns. Are we going to be able to have a look to the inside at the top of the hill there? Really just trying to... Oh, don't want to try and force him out. Don't want to do a Max Verstappen to him on the exit of the corner there. But Lando Norris still not giving up. We'll try and switch him off the corner. Not quite able to there, but we have gained from that red flag. So I guess we can't complain. Oh, we got a lock up. That's George Russell, I think, who almost rejoins into the side of his teammate. I'm sure Mercedes hoping that their 2 drivers don't make contact again for the 2nd year in a row, but that's going to leave them side by side with the 3rd Brit, Lando Norris, watching on. We've got more yellows out. Who's now got mechanical? It's Carlos Sainz. And that might mean that Red Bull are going to be champions then, because I believe Ferrari needed to finish this sprint race with both cars there mathematically if they wanted a shot. So Ferrari's hopes and dreams literally going up in smoke here. We're just trying to hang on to these lads in front, and maybe we can score a point. Well, I can't believe then for the 2nd week in a row, Carlos Sainz is going to have a mechanical failure, and it looks like it is going to gift Fernando Alonso an opportunity to take a victory. Charles Leclerc still in hot pursuit as we round our way to start the last lap of this race. I think we might just have lost the DRS range to Lando Norris. Yes, we have. So I think we're going to watch him and George Russell duke it out for that final point, because he's practically pushing the Mercedes along here at the moment. I must admit, I'm staggered. I mean, how warm is that tyre?
Push, push.
40% wear inside 3 laps is absolute insanity, even in F1 24. So clearly the soft tyres don't work around this track, unless obviously you really want to hang on to them a whole lot better than we have done. So I guess we're going to be defending from Gasly and Ocon on this final lap here. But yeah, it's been one of the weirdest sprint races we've ever had inside F1 24. Another red flag, and, well, split strategy, which doesn't happen often. Making our way, though, up in towards the final couple of corners here. Aston Martin, we saw it in the driver career mode. Fernando Alonso able to really kick on strong towards the end of the year here. A title charge or anything like that is impossible. But Alonso, as he rounds his way through the final corner, he is going to win the sprint race here in Qatar. Should have done it in Sao Paulo, but unfortunately was robbed with a penalty. The final corner. Alonso takes the win. We're going to come through for P10. There we go. Alonso victorious in the sprint. 4/10 clear of Charles Leclerc there with Verstappen in P3. Oscar Piastri in a Red Bull sandwich there ahead of Stroll, Hamilton, and George Russell, your final point scorer. That means if we take a look at the Drivers' Championship, obviously, yeah, Verstappen still with an 86-point lead over his big rival. Alonso might actually jump Carlos Sainz here by the end of the year, by virtue of these fellow Spaniard constantly breaking down. Unfortunately for me, yeah, Oscar Piastri is just slowly stretching away. But with that result, yeah, I believe that does mean Red Bull are your Constructors' Champions. There's only 88 points available now, so Red Bull have wrapped it up for the 2nd year in a row in the sprint here in Qatar. But let's move into real qualifying. Well, the sun has now set here in Qatar as we make our way out into real qualifying then, as we roll on that throttle at the final corner. We are going to continue to use the overtake mode. It's nice, to be honest, just to fight a little bit further up the order. I have made some minor setup tweaks, though. Obviously, Qatar's a bit of a weird one, although it's quite high speed. You have to run really, really high wing angle to get the car to work around this circuit. You know, that final sector basically needs to be flat out in both qualifying and race trim. So yeah, we've taken a tiny bit of wing off to hopefully give ourselves a little bit more fight down the straights. But ultimately, yeah, I just feel like Again, tyre management here is going to be really, really difficult. Obviously, we're trying to put all of our eggs in the Season 2 basket with all the upgrades going on to the car. And we can only hope that that ends up delivering for us. A long way up on Ayumu Iwasa at the moment as we make our way through the exit of Sector 2. That time around, we're just about hanging between the white lines. Is that corner flat? It is. Okay. Well, that gives me a little bit more confidence then. Ready for the second run. Iwasa's time, though, definitely not a representative on a 1:23.9, so I'm guessing he made a little bit of a mistake somewhere. We're going to run a 22.4. It puts us P12. Tell you what, yeah, so far this lap has been pretty much even with the first one we did. We are seeing a few other drivers improve around us, so we're down to P14 then. Not a bad effort by Kevin Magnussen to boost himself a little bit further up the order, but yeah, I mean, the fact that this is completely flat right the way through now, absolutely insane, so we know we can carry that knowledge into future Grand Prix here as well. We are going to see a minor improvement, about a 10th up, but will it jump us up the order? We go P13. We only re-overtake Kevin Magnussen. Well, there we go. Title hopes might be completely in the bin for Charles Leclerc and Ferrari, but he has still taken both poles this weekend there. Norris, George Russell and Hamilton, all with big improvements as well as we head into the main event, so clearly use that sprint race to try and get themselves more up to speed. I don't know what happened to Iwasa. He was like 4 tenths down in pretty much every sector relative to what he should have been able to do. So, a bit of a shame after I hyped him up in the sprint. But we've got 29 more laps ahead of us here from Qatar. Anything can happen, so let's try and survive.
Welcome back to Qatar. There was talk of a new circuit, but we're back here once again at Losail, under the lights. 3.3 miles, 16 turns with a single DRS zone at the exit of turn 16. It is a fast and flowing track with plenty of overtaking expected through the DRS zone down into turn 1. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position and Lando Norris lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Russell, Hamilton, Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Gasly, Mr. Monaco, Magnussen, Ocon, Albon, Hulkenberg, Joe, Sargent, Perez, Bottas, Iwasa, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, and Carlos Sainz will start from the back of the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Okay, let's see if we can push for a top 10 position today.
Well, I love Mark's optimism, but yeah, I'm not convinced we'll see that. I think, unfortunately, Vegas was probably our last chance to score points this season, and, well, that didn't quite run as smoothly as I wanted it to. We do line up, though, P10, because obviously Sainz has got penalties and both V-carbs as well, so clearly, if you're Italian, or sorry, racing for an Italian team, you can't survive here in Qatar without some kind of mechanical issue. But lining up then on the grid, medium to hard is going to be the way to go today. It is 5 red lights. And it's going to be lights out, and away we go. We've done a better job on the launch this time around as Oscar Piastri goes absolutely nowhere down in towards turn 1. We've got Magnussen trying to look around my outside in towards that first corner. But we're going to make a place. We've gained a place off the start of this one as Alonso and Stroll side by side just in front. Gasly there, just squeezed me out a little bit. I tried to keep a foot in, maybe a little bit more optimistic than I ever should have been here. Qatar, I've said it before, definitely doesn't feel as fun and fluid as it did on last year's game. It seems to be one of the only tracks where it actually feels more understeery for some reason inside F1 24, despite how much more front end you have inside this year's game. But Charles Leclerc still leading the way at the front of the field. Verstappen still, in P5. As that's one way to try and get some heat into the tyres on lap 1. Oscar Piastri there want to try and recapitalise immediately. But we need to try and stay in the range of Gasly in front. That train at the front of the field is going to be absolutely critical. What's going to be critical then early on this afternoon is trying to hang with Pierre Gasly here. Not too worried about keeping Oscar Piastri at bay, simply just because I think that McLaren's going to be far too quick. as proven by the fact his teammate is just setting new fastest lap. Here we go. Are we going to see Piastri get close enough? He is gaining on me. Not as much as I was expecting, though. As, yeah, Gasly ourselves, we're just kind of sometimes able to match the others, you know, the top runners, and score good points. Sometimes we're just lacking that little final bit, and it can really, really cost us. But obviously we need to try and outscore Alpine here. So there is a lot at stake. Oh no, here comes Oscar Piastri. I don't really think we can do a lot this time round. We've got no battery to try and defend ourselves. Back down towards Salmon, and the McLaren will swoop through. Hopefully him and Gasly can have a bit of a battle. Of course, technically in the Drivers' Championship as well, Oscar Piastri is still my main rival. This is going to be a very, very difficult job. We're going to need a lot of luck if we want to outscore him before the end of the year. Oh, damn it. That's not gone well. How have we let Oscar Piastri by? And immediately he's pulled out a 1 second margin over me. I mean, Gasly, yeah, he's going to be fighting with him. I think Pierre might have just lost the reins to the cars in front. But, yeah, we have just simply not got pace once again. It is a bitter, bitter slog towards the end of Season 1 in this series. But I guess our battle's going to be with Ocon. And we are still fighting for a point, which is nice. Now we've got to start getting strategic then. Esteban Ocon, I'm sure, is about to fly past me. Yep, there you go.
9.6 seconds.
I don't know whether he'll have the pace to run away, though, in the same way Piastri was able to. So this could be really, really critical in this race. He certainly will if I've got no grip like that through turn 1. We need to keep Albon and Magnussen back. Where am I going? No, the front left takes an absolute beating around this circuit, and that's exactly what's happened so far. 42%. It's not actually overheating yet. I've managed to get the tyre pressure just about right. But good news is we can seemingly keep up with Ocon. Bad news is, I don't know if Pierre can do the same with Oscar. He does seem to be dropping back slightly, but I don't know if we'll have the pace to get back to him. I had, I'll be honest, completely forgot that Perez was in that group of cars behind me, and now it looks like Sainz has come through as well. So, yeah, Ocon and I trying to fight for the final point, I think is very quickly going to become Ocon and I trying to hang on to Perez here. Looks like Gasly might have just dropped back as the front group now starting to split up. But yeah, I don't think it's long before we're going to see Perez flying past me. And now to add to our troubles, tyre wear warning light has flashed up. Simply lovely. I mean, we're not overheating the tyre, but it is just obviously through so many right-handers here. You really do put an absolute pounding through it. So, yeah, this is not looking good at the moment. I don't really feel a two-stop is viable. We might have to go for it. We'll try, well, we'll still go to the hards ready for our second stint. We might try and undercut Ocon here. I don't see a world in which those tyres, though, last 20 laps to the end. But I guess we've got to throw caution to the wind. Maybe we get a well-timed safety car or something like that a little bit later on in the day. But, yeah, once again, it feels like kind of the limitations of this car slowly revealing themselves. I think it's quite clear as well. Iwasa really is struggling tonight.
Let's go now, come on. Perfect job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one.
Well, maybe we can get back with Esteban Ocon. Maybe we can try and get to the cars in front and drag ourselves down. But yeah, this is a brutal, brutal Grand Prix. Once again, I'm just waiting, well, for Season 2. There's cold tyres. Well, that doesn't bode very well either. An engine warning light has just flashed up now as well in this Grand Prix. I mean, we're trying to push on. We're trying to hang for as many opportunities as we can here. But it really does feel like, and yeah, unless we get a well-timed safety car, it's going to be a long old push to the checkered flag. Well, I said it, I remember, back at Spain, but it really does feel like, yeah, maybe there, Qatar, potentially Silverstone to a lesser degree. The AI, their tyre wear is not simulated correctly inside this game. Obviously, we've got all these new physics and tyre parameters and things like that, which are, you know, a good addition. But it's only really good if everyone is on a level playing field. And, yeah, definitely the AI at the moment aren't inside F1 24. We have got a few cars into the pit lane, including one of those Alpines. So where are we going to come out relative to them? That is Ocon.
Around with the RS modes and the MFD, or lift sometimes and ease onto the brake pedal for some manual recharge.
How have I not even undercut the Alpine, man? Yumu into the pit lane then, as well as a handful of other cars, so...
Yumu in the pits. Yumu is in the pits now.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, no idea what's happened to Hamilton, but he seems to be really struggling as well here. So we are going to re-emerge just outside the points. I think still Perez and Sainz hanging on out there, so we might still be ahead of them. But yeah, oh, come on.
2.5 seconds.
Well, that ain't right. But yeah, it is so difficult to try and find a balance around here. I think we're going to have to two-stop, unfortunately. Yeah, we're basically just praying for a safety car or a red flag. Here we go. Sainz and Perez making their way out of the pit lane. We're going to get ahead of Sainz. We might just be in Perez's DRS for a lap or two. Maybe he can drag me up to Ocon. I mean, yeah, looking at the tyre wear, though, we're already at, I think, 25%. So, yeah, no chance that a one-stop's going to be viable. Yeah, like I said, it's fine if the AI are in the same position as you. But there's no chance Perez could take those mediums 15 laps here. Well, I feel less sad now about how quickly Oscar Piastri was able to pull away from me early on in the Grand Prix, because he's now actually fighting it out almost for the win here.
8 by 30.8 seconds.
I would also say I'm quite impressed with how well our slightly older hard tyres have hung on to everybody else's. I won't be pitting until we've pretty much guaranteed ourselves not to be in the fight for a point. Otherwise, there's no point doing it before then, or if we get a safety car or something like that still. But just over 10 laps to go. Perez and Ocon now really starting to battle. Where on earth am I going? But here we go, Sergio Perez. This might be the easiest overtake he ever has to make in his life. Down the outside of Esteban Ocon, back in towards Turn 1. Sainz and Hamilton having a bit of a battle out behind me as well. But unfortunately, yeah, now we have lost the DRS for the pair of them. So we'll have to wait and see what Ocon's pace is like. But it really is brutal. It doesn't take long once you fall off the back of one train of cars to immediately be in the clutches of the next. Here goes Lewis Hamilton clean around the outside. I'm honestly surprised Sainz hasn't been able to get to me as well there. Back down towards Turn 1. 8 laps to go. We are counting those laps down desperately, but we need to try and stay with Hamilton. But we're going to try and be really strategic here. Then Hamilton has immediately escaped the DRS, so we're actually going to let Sainz by and try then to claim the DRS off him. Maybe he's got the pace over the Ferrari.
Trying to keep focus.
Sorry, over the Mercedes even. Obviously Ferrari next year for Lewis Hamilton. But yeah, as we round our way through these final couple of corners, I'm tempted, honestly, just to box for a set of softs pretty soon. We know they won't last long, but maybe try and snooker away fastest lap. It is Oscar Piastri with that fastest lap, so it could make good sense. Now it's Hamilton immediately, though.
The car behind has newer tyres than you. Maintain the gap if possible.
I mean, is this just turning into a drive until the tyres explode challenge? I don't know. Well, we've got 5 laps to go, then tyre wear warning light has just flashed up as well. Yeah, you look down at that HUD at the moment, it's starting to resemble a bit of a Christmas tree here towards the end of the day. I mean, there's no real point in us pitting, is there now? We're not going to be able to recover anything from it. So, yeah, this has turned into a drive until the tyres explode. They are at 61%. What will they be by the end of the race? Is it going to be 100? Oh, we got yellows. We've got yellows. Someone at the front. I think that's Oscar Piastri. Oscar Piastri, after such a good recovery drive, with just a handful of laps to go here, it doesn't look like he's going to see the finish here in Qatar. I mean, it might well be Lando Norris. I haven't really been able to keep track of what's going on with that front group, as he's going very, very slowly through the middle sector. Is it going to be Oscar? Is it going to be somebody else? Could we get a late safety car? That would be glorious in helping me out.
Okay, they're out of this race.
It is Oscar Piastri who's out, so I guess we get one freebie back again towards the end. But what a shame for McLaren. Well, I believe it is still Fernando Alonso who leads this race at the front of the field. Surely Lance Stroll is about to get his first ever Formula 1 victory. VCARB, though, have done a really, really good job in this race on the whole.
11.2 seconds.
So, yeah, they've actually recovered from pretty much the back of the fields to P12 and P14 provisionally. I have just let Tsunoda by in the hopes that we can get back past him, back down towards someone there, as I think that's Lando Norris making a move for the lead of the Grand Prix. Are we going to see Fernando, or will it be Lando here? I think, yeah, he's actually opened up a little bit of a margin almost immediately then.
Let's go, final lap.
I might have made a mistake letting Tsunoda by, although we should be close enough by the time we get back down to Turn 1. Why, you really wanted to move across me in the braking zone, Yuki Tsunoda or Max Verstappen? You decide on that one, but Lando Norris through to the lead of the Grand Prix. Update on our front left tyre, 76%. So I'm not confident it might still blow up on this final lap of the Grand Prix as well here, but yeah, I think Awassa's struggles go to show the lack of pace we've had in the car this weekend. Yeah, certainly never have we really been in the fight for points. Luckily, Ocon now out of the top 10 as well. And Gasly, I think he's only going to be able to walk away with 1 or 2. So it's not impossible that we can beat them by the end of the year as well there. But through the final corner, Lando Norris is going to be back on top once again here for McLaren, stealing that victory away from Fernando Alonso right at the end of the afternoon. Here comes Tsunoda trying to get a run on me up in towards this final sector of the lap there. Red Bull this weekend haven't quite had the out-and-out pace to really challenge the, you know, front runners, your Ferraris, your McLarens, and your Aston Martins. Their Sainz will snatch fastest lap on the very last lap as well of the Grand Prix, but through the final corner, from 10th on the grid, it is P12 come the checkered flag. Another brutal race.
The wait is over. Lando Norris takes the checkered flag.
Well, it all came good in the end for them, but it wasn't an easy start. Not the most straightforward of days, but I think it shows great strength in an athlete as a driver when you can overcome a day like this and walk away still with a victory.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
Well, there we go then. Despite not winning the Grand Prix, Alonso takes the most points from the weekend there. Happened in Miami IRL as well. Lando Norris was the first ever driver to win a Grand Prix, but not score the most points from the weekend there. Fernando, though, he comes through for another P2 ahead of Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen. Russell, Stroll, Perez, Hamilton, Gasly, and Carlos Sainz will round out your top 10 there. It was a brutal race for us. Somehow we still made the one-stop work. But yeah, really lack pace relative to everybody else there. Championship-wise, I mean, yeah, we're 22 back from Oscar, so not really convinced we're going to be able to do anything by the end of the year. Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz now tied. Perez and Alonso only 3 points between them, so there's a lot still to fight for other drivers in the championship. Ferrari have a 14-point lead over Mercedes as well, so that could still come down to the wire, and we need a 10-point overhaul over Alpine in that season finale. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed. We're back later on tonight live with co-op. This series will return very soon as well though. But yeah, we'll be back next time out ready for the season finale out in Abu Dhabi.